Brilliant speed with vibrant service, vibrant broadband internet.
Gotta make sure I know what I'm talking about here, or talking to, or...
That's never stopped you before.
I know, and it never will again, but, it's just kind of... You're supposed to say that.
Yeah.
It's the cordial thing to say.
Sure.
So, hey, it's Vibrant U time, right?
It is.
Got the crew here. Who have we
is.
got?
All right. Thanks for joining us. My name is Nathan.
I'm Shane.
And I'm Jane.
We got no boat today, but we still got three
Musketeers.
musketeers. Yeah, sure. I was going to go Stooges,
Three
but
fairly qualified
vibrant
human
tears.
beings.
yeah, there you go.
Right?
So, yeah, thanks for joining us. This
Here, I
is
got Bo with us, just so that
a
you know.
picture of Bo
Yeah,
on
there
this.
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, there.
He's here in spirit.
Right.
No, thanks for joining us. We like to, come on these Vibrant U live shows and kind of educate on Vibrant and Meeker Co-op and internet and streaming and cybersecurity, a whole lot of stuff. But today we're going to talk a little bit about, internet and how hard it can be if you don't have internet and how much we take internet for granted and some of that stuff. So we want to go a little bit of history on Vibrant and about, how the co-op got started, Meeker Cooperative. So we just had our 89th birthday, I think a week or two ago now, a couple weeks ago. And so we're in our 90th year as Meeker Cooperative Light and Power. And for those that don't know, how the co-op got started is, there was such a need for electricity 90 years ago, then there weren't, nobody was providing electricity to the rural community, the farmers, the people that were starting to need it outside of town. So a lot of farmers and stuff got together, families came together and formed the co-op. And they started laying their own electric lines and providing themselves power. And that's how the co-op got started. And obviously been doing power for 89 years now. And now internet is in a lot of ways the same way. The rural community struggles for so long to get solid internet. And the internet's becoming maybe not as important as electricity. It's hard to be more important than electricity. But internet has become so important in so many other things that's essentially how why the co-op started Vibrant.
Right. You remember the 90s when it...
Yeah, I try not to. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have internet back then or any kind of...
Not me.
Okay, so-
Yeah. But
know.
we scarcely had, the old faxing, and stuff like that.
Right, right.
That's
And I
was
got
the best you had.
I got a book like back in 92 or 93 and it was about this World Wide Web thing that was coming. And being a techie person, I read the book. It's like, what is this internet thing they talk about? And so I tried to understand it, and then I got a dial-up connection, right? You could sign up for a dial-up.
Oh, yeah.
So your computer would essentially have a modem in it, and then you'd get on your computer and you'd open up a program and it would dial a number, and then you'd hear this screeching back and forth.
Like Jane
Yeah.
just did there.
Beautiful
Yeah.
impression.
It's kind of like a fax machine kind of does.
Yep.
But and then you'd connect to another computer, and back then there wasn't like a ton of graphics. It was pretty basic.
Text.
A lot of text. I remember getting involved in a alt snowmobile group because in the snowmobiling, and so you just chat back and forth in this group, basically type messages
And people were thankful and patient because that's all they knew.
yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and
That's about it.
I was
Maybe.
I was involved in fantasy football back then as well, right? Actually, this is a season for fantasy football.
Right
Nathan's
on.
got a couple teams. I've got a few teams.
I got one.
Do you? Okay. And I remember, you had to look up the stats in the newspaper on Tuesday.
Yep.
After all the games, and then you'd write them down and have to hand calculate it all out.
Yeah.
And I remember signing up for something that you could dial in. You could take your computer.
What year was this?
This was back in 93 or 94.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yeah, and then, the computer would dial up and it would download all the stats and put them in this program for you. And it was kind of like the early, now it's all online, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So, the early days, you'd tie up your phone line, right, for one thing.
Yeah.
Because nobody had more than one phone line,
Yeah, that's right.
right? So then if you had to make a phone call, then you'd have to shut off the internet.
Yeah, Bill, I'll have to get back to you. Lucy's got to make a call here.
Exactly. And it wasn't until the phone companies and cable companies started offering faster service or whatever that you could have, not tie up your phone line, but also have some service. But it was still slow back then, but it was faster than dial-up, obviously.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
So, and we were talking about my brother Jason, and he used to live about a mile out of town here, and this was in the mid 2000s. He had satellite internet. And I remember going out, on to his place on a Sunday, trying to watch a football game or whatever, and wanting to get on the internet to download scores or see what's going on. It was so slow.
I bet.
And of course, I was used to a little faster internet in town here.
City folk were so spoiled.
I know, that's just it. And that's, but the whole point is that in the cities, you had faster internet, but in the rural communities, you just did not have that.
Mm-hmm.
And so telephone companies just weren't investing in pushing internet out into the country.
Right.
And so you had satellite, or you had kind of a dial-up. It was a little bit faster than dial-up, but dial-up out in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so we, the importance of Meeker Co-op deciding to bring fiber out to the rural community, I mean, that's huge. We're so blessed with that.
Right. So once again, Meeker Cooperative became a pioneer in another industry with internet. So we were having technology issues with our substations. So then we decided to do it ourselves again, and we built out this great system. It's a hybrid system. So if we have 49 poles in the area, they're all fiber fed. And then if you are on that route, or we've built out the community, then you get fiber directly to your home. If not, we offer a hybrid fixed wireless system. So basically the last mile or so is a point-to-point contact between you and our pole. And so those are the systems that we offer, and it has been hugely successful. And we have been continuing to build out all of this information, and we just keep going.
Keep adding,
kinda like
yeah.
Right.
Yep.
the Energizer bunny, I guess.
Well, why
so,
not,
and why is this important?
Yeah, why does it matter? I guess, I mean, I like to talk about electricity. We talked about that earlier. Can you imagine going without electricity? For those of us who maybe have gone camping in an area that has no power,
Right.
It's like going back in time. You have to think about, okay, I can't just throw something in the microwave or the oven or the stove. I got to cook food with a fire. And I don't have a refrigerator, so I can maybe use a cooler, maybe last me a day or two, but then I have to figure out alternative ways to get lights, to get food, to get all this stuff. It's crazy. I mean, there are still people that live like that today, obviously.
Brings back great memories for me.
Sure. I mean, I remember
North
visiting.
Country.
I visited the stockade last year, 2 summers ago, and they have there are people that during the stockade time, they go out there and they live out there for like those week or two, and they try to set themselves back in that time, and they don't rely on electricity at all. And I remember walking through and seeing some people cooking food and something like, I just can't imagine going without electricity, having to choose between what I could do or what I couldn't do. And it's similar like that for internet now, because so many things are internet reliant. Everyone has a smartphone just about these days.
Yeah.
So many people are streaming. So many people work on computers or with computers. I mean, it touches every single aspect of our lives, just about school for kids. So if we didn't have connectivity or reliable connectivity, I mean, we'd be in the Stone Age in a lot of ways. I can't imagine in my generation not having, because I pretty much grew up having that. I've been spoiled in that
Sure
way.
you did, yeah.
So I'm spoiled.
Even like living in the Stone Age, you feel like you live in a Stone Age if you don't have a really good internet connection.
Yeah.
So if you have an internet connection, but it's a poor internet connection, then you kind of feel like you're left out. So as you know, we record the show on video, and I take the files and I upload them back onto our YouTube channel.
Right.
And so I was recently out in the Black Hills for my nephew's wedding, and Nathan recorded the show, and he uploaded it up to Google Drive, and the VRBO that we were staying in had internet, right? And I remember trying to download these files, and these files are 18 gigabytes.
Is that big?
Yes.
Yeah, and there's 2 of them. They're huge, right? And it took about 8 hours for each file to download.
No.
Right? So I'd set the computer and I'd just let it go overnight,
Yeah,
right?
no kidding.
So now
There you
imagine,
go.
I mean,
We're
that's
back
kinda,
to that.
right? So then I got the files and I did the editing, and then I tried to upload the file, and the file I tried to upload was about 10 gigabytes. It just wouldn't upload. It just simply would not upload. And so I finally didn't get to a good internet. We got into Rapid City, and then I could finally get a connection. And it was a slow connection, but it took about a half hour to upload.
Oh.
Whereas when I'm here at home, like I've got 200 gigabyte up and down at fiber at my house,
Yeah.
and I could upload that file in like 5 minutes. And so just having that speed or access to that speed just really makes you feel like you're in the now, right? But if you don't have that speed, you feel like you're living in a Stone Age.
Especially if you've had it before.
Exactly.
I suppose for those that maybe have never had that, they're like, well, okay, that's okay.
They don't know what they're missing, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that's right. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And my experience with that is the upload speed. So, seeing your pictures, I uploaded the pictures to my Shutterfly account, and I would walk away. It would take over a half hour to get all that done. And with Vibrant, it was instantaneously. I didn't even know what to do with myself. So, I mean, like I said, you don't really know what you have until you have it, and then it's gone, basically, kind of like Shane's story. And just certain things, we kind of take for granted that we have quality internet. And
Right.
being away at some locations, I was at my girlfriend's house, and they don't have fiber coming to their home, and so it's a little bit of a hiccup, and you just got to adapt. But it's interesting how those stories. Nathan, do you have any frustration with stories?
Yeah, a couple things come to mind. I mean, my in-laws have a cabin on Green Lake, and for a long time they had cable TV, but they didn't have internet. So it's like when you went there, you realized how important internet can be. Someone's like, "Well, let's throw on Netflix." So like, "Well, there's actually no internet here. We can't watch Netflix. We can watch cable,
Yeah.
but we can't watch Netflix or YouTube or do these different things." Or my father-in-law said, "I'm interested in putting up a camera where I can kind of check it remotely and keep an eye on the place." You can't do that without internet. So we ended up making a switch from cable, got them internet, and now they stream their TV. But it was interesting because, like I said, I've grown up everywhere I've lived or visited, for the most part, has internet. So it's weird going to somewhere that didn't have internet and you had to think outside the box. I mean, one weird thing that people might think, well, we didn't always have that. So but I have two young kids, and my baby monitors for them are Wi-Fi connected. So I can hook them up, their cameras, their audio, so I can check, I can be in the yard mowing the lawn, and I put my headphones in and I can hear if they wake up or if they need help or something like that. But then when we travel, we went to a wedding up north of Duluth last summer, and I brought the cameras. They're portable. I brought them out there. I got this great plan. Yep, I got them set, situated. I can still go in the yard and visit with people. Realized there was satellite internet would not work. Video, audio,
no kidding.
nothing.
Yeah.
So then I basically had to stay inside and stay within earshot in case that they woke up and needed me or something. So I didn't realize how limiting it can be to not rely on some of the technology that I take for granted all the time. Like, this stuff just works at home. It works in most other places because just about everywhere has solid internet. But if you don't, it can be limiting in a lot of ways.
Right. It allows you more freedom. In
absolutely.
those kind of cases.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Yeah.
have you had any experience of going from good internet and then remembering kind of poor internet?
Well, I mean, we talked earlier about going camping and stuff like that, and I know the first few times that I had a phone, it was good here in Litchfield, but I'd get up there and I didn't have any access, and here I was able to access the internet, access things that I wanted to look up. I got up there, and I mean, like you say, you got to wait for tomorrow's paper.
Yeah, exactly. And
Literally.
And I mean, it's maybe not all bad. You can read a book and maybe learn something there too.
There are some
But,
advantages for sure.
right.
To take breaks from technology.
Yeah, you
for
should
sure.
always
Right.
you should always take breaks.
It's like
as well.
breaks from screen time for your kids,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the electricity analogy now, imagine, not having electricity on the farm 90 years ago, right? And the way of life, kind of like you mentioned with the stockade. But then electricity comes. But then imagine if electricity was such that you could only plug 3 appliances in at a time at your house.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you have plugged in? Probably the fridge and freezer. And then
have if you had an electric oven.
and and an oven, but then you wanted to watch TV, you'd have to unplug one or the other, right? Or if you did have them all plugged in, they would all run slow. And I mean, imagine that kind of a scenario.
Or turning the rabbit ears in those days.
Well, that's kind of like poor internet. Poor internet's the same thing. So you have a slow connection. You have 5 people all want to get on and do things at the same time. You need a bit more bandwidth. And that's what Vibrant brought. The Vibrant brought fiber and the fiber-fed fixed wireless with more bandwidth so you could do everything at the same time, just like electricity.
Yep.
How about that?
And the other part, too, is being cooperative. We continue to expand in other cooperative territories. And so I was just on the phone with a guy today who has Candy Power, and he's like, why are you guys here and not Candy? And it's like, well, not everybody does this. It's a huge endeavor, and it's, we've doubled our employees for doing this. And so we are committed to, helping everybody out and making sure they get that great connection. So we have a great thing here, and I don't think people really realize how awesome,
how rare it can be to get fiber in the country and all that stuff. So.
And Meeker Co-op, I mean, their mission statement it's really simple: energizing and connecting, enhancing your life. So electricity and internet, they enhanced our lives, and just imagine living without that.
Yeah. I mean, so if you don't have good internet, reach out to Vibrant, see if we can help. Whether you're in the country, whether you're in town, if you're not having a great experience, if you have limitations, or you can only have so many things running at a time, or you're running into issues, we can help with all that stuff. So certainly keep us in mind. If you're interested in learning about streaming, we have an event next Wednesday, a week from today. We have our Dreaming of Streaming class. It's going to be the last one of 2024 because November, December, people are just too busy for that kind of thing. But October 9th at the Litchfield Co-op office, the Dreaming of Streaming at 5:30. Usually runs about an hour. We will have, some snacks and some water and pop kind of thing. And then if you missed part of today's radio show, or you want to listen back to other radio topics that we've covered, check us out on Facebook or YouTube. You can just look up Vibrant Broadband. And then catch us on Wednesdays here on KLFD every Wednesday at 10:30. And then if you have questions about internet, about streaming, cybersecurity, some of the stuff we've talked about, just give us a call. We're local here in Litchfield. We're happy to answer questions, see if we can help. 693-3231, and we have a lot of great information on our website, vibrantbroadband.com. So thank you for hosting, having us again.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening out there. We love hearing people that caught us on the radio, so please mention that. My name's Nathan.
I'm Shane.
And I'm Jane.
And this has been another Vibrant U Live.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Brilliant speed with vibrant service. Vibrant broadband internet. Vibrant broadband internet.